Well, this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, and a new one just begun. I know, don't give up my day job, right? Anyway, ha-ta-da! Hey, I'm going to finish this Mother's Little Helper with you here. Pouring into my Mulvihill Crest. You see how that pours so beautifully? This, I don't care what anybody says, my man. I'm telling you, this is a top-notch IPA. Mother's Little Helper, 7%, 70 IBUs. Hey, I've been talking a lot about Christmas. Got a little serious for a moment on the other video. I'm gonna take it lighter on this one. That's what happens when you get drinking. Sometimes you get a little mellow, you get serious, and you get happy again. Anyways, I digress. Let's have a drink. This is a different one for us, though, right? Christmas, because, well, it's the first Christmas we've had with Sheamus with leukemia. He was just diagnosed in February. It was a heck of a shock because he'd been, the picture of health. People would joke with us, and say things like, or I've even said it too, they should take his blood and find out why he has this perfect immune system. Because he'd never been sick a day in his life up until he was diagnosed February 13th with cancer. He never had the flu his entire life. From 0 to 13, this kid had never, literally, I'm not exaggerating here, literally never been sick. And now he, it just blows your mind. How do you go from the best immune system in the world to no immune system at all? It just baffles the heck out of you, It really does. It just, But it's also the first Christmas with a new grandchild. We got a new grandchild, little Ben. Oh, I love little Ben. I go crazy. I've been posting picture after picture of the cute little guy. He's just amazing, man. So we got kind of both spectrums. Overall, Sheamus is doing well though, so the prognosis is good. It's not like it's a downer Christmas, but it's just different because he has cancer. But excuse me. But we have a grandchild, man. Who can't be excited about that? Most people that grew up with me never thought I'd be old enough to have a grandchild, I was a bit on the reckless side back in the day. But hard to tell by looking at me now, I'm the upstanding citizen you see before you. But anyway, I'm almost 50 years old. Actually, I'm 47. But I'm closer to 50 than I am 40. But I was a bit of a wild one back, back in my youth. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting Christmas. Shames. Callista's husband's mother invited them to her house for Christmas. So they're going to be over there for Christmas. I decided at some point that I wasn't going to be that. I remember watching my sister's married brothers, which is odd anyway. But I just watched that whole struggle every holiday season. Well, they were here for you got to be here for Thanksgiving, and they have to be here. And one mother-in-law always gets her knickers out of joint, Well, they have to be here at this time. They have to be here at this time. It always just made my head hurt. So I decided way back when that I was never going to be that kind of in-law. You know what I mean? I want them here on Christmas, of course I do. But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna cause a stink over it, and I'm not gonna fight over it. It's not because I don't love them enough to want them to be here. Of course I do, but I love them enough not to make them stress over it. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people look at it the opposite way. Well, I love them enough, so I want them here. But you're putting the hurt on them when you do that. Can you see that? If you got both families struggling over who goes where, you're making them hurt in the middle. I'm not going to do that. I love them enough to not make them hurt in the middle. So anyway, to make a long, they're going to go over there for Christmas Day, but I'm always going to fix the stuff that Calista likes. So if she wants to come over later that day, that's great. She wants to come over the next day, that's fine. She wants to come over Christmas Eve, that's fine. I'm still going to have the stuff she wants and she's looking forward to. So it ain't no big thing either way. I know I'll most likely see her at some point on Christmas Day. But even if I don't see her to the 26th, hey, what's in a day, right? You still have the loved ones, and it ain't that big a deal. You shouldn't make it that big a deal, and you shouldn't put the stress on your kids to have to be with you, because they have to be. They can't be in both places. So if one family wants to make an issue, let them make an issue. But you should be the big enough person to say, you know what, I'm here. I'm here. I'm always here. So if you want to be here, come here. You know what I'm saying? That's what I say. I'm here. If you're able to be here, that's great. If you need to go to the other side, that's cool too. But you come here whenever you're ready. And that's kind of the way we do things. Oh, this is a nice IPA. See how I did that? I went from Christmas to beer. I said I wasn't going to talk specifically, but then every once in a while I just rip it out. Hey, how about that? Yeah, every time I drink this IPA and I think, man, if I could just get this baby in the hands of people out of state, they would get it. I've talked to a couple of people that don't. I'm wondering what aren't they seeing in this thing that I do. So I would like to get them here with me. With me drinking and thinking, why aren't you tasting these flavors? You know what I mean? Yeah. Why are you? How do you not think this is a great IPA? Was your mind already made up before you popped it open? I don't know how you can taste this IPA and not think it's a top tier, wonderful, great single IPA. I just don't know, because I'm getting all the flavors I want from an IPA. Typically citrusy, typically piney. This one is more citrusy. So again, it's going to depend on what you prefer in an IPA. But the finish on this is exquisite. It really is. It just shuts down, and then those hops just wash over your palate. You're going, oh, it's just one of those beers that just gets better and better as you go through it. So I just don't know how anybody wouldn't think this is a top tier IPA, is because it's just exquisite. Everything about this beer is beautiful. Even the color. I love the color. I'm feeling very living right now. Ha! Ta-da! Ta-da! Anyway, uh, Christmas movies. Ha! I love Christmas movies. I'm kind of a girl that way. I hate to admit that. Hey, you ever seen The Holiday? It's got Kate Winslet, Cameron Diaz, Jack Black, and Jude Law. I love that movie. I know it's technically a chick flick, I suppose, but I like it because the dialogue is just brilliant. There's a lot of things spoken from the a lot of chick flicks. Uh, every bit of dialogue from both the men and the women are spoken from a woman's point of view. It doesn't matter who says it, it's all from a woman's point of view. This one's different, and that's what I love about The Holiday, because the dialogue is spoken from a man's point of view. There's one point where there's a whole bunch of other dialogue. You'd have to watch the movie for this, what I'm about to say, to make sense to you. But she says, "I think we should have sex," and then she qualifies it with "if you want to," and Jude Law's response to that is this a trick question or is that a trick question? I can't remember how he phrased it, but that's exactly what a man would say. No, no. And then at one point she rambles on about some other stuff. And she says, "Am I talking you out of this?" And he says, "Strangely, no," because you can never talk a man out of having sex. It's just not going to happen. You can start talking about boils on your keister. He's still going to want to do you. It's just the way it is. But that's what makes that movie different for me than the typical chick flick, is that you have the female character speak from a female point of view, the male character speak from a male point of view. Many chick flicks, every character speaks from a female point of view. or whatever the argument is, the female is always going to be right, and it's not necessarily the case in this movie. That's why I like it. Thumbs up. If I was a movie critic, if I was Gene Siskel, I'd be dead. But but I would give it a thumbs up. I do like that movie too. For another reason is that Jack Black. I do like him. I think he can go extremely over the top. And in this movie, he's actually a normal person. I think this is the best role he's ever done to date because it really it shows him as an actor and not just this crazy wild guy. I know he did that that King Kong bit of a movie. Let's just let that go. But this one he's actually really good at. And Eli Wallach was just brilliant in this movie. The fact that he didn't get an Oscar nomination for this film was a slight to an acting genius. Eli Wallach, man. Eli Wallach took it in the shorts that year. Eli Wallach's a genius, man. He should be getting some credit. Eli Wallach, man. Eli Wallach was great in that movie. Oh. And, who doesn't love Kate Winslet, right? That chick does everything right. I don't know if I've ever seen anything with her in it that was bad, Well, there's a lot of her movies I haven't watched because, well, quite frankly, they're chick flicks. But everything I've seen her in is brilliant. Oh. I'm a sucker for Christmas specials. We just watched The Year Without a Santa Claus. I love the Heat Miser and the Snow Miser. I dig to see it. Of course, I get, people, but that's not what Christmas is about, Tom. It's about the baby Jesus. And of course, I get that. But Christmas can be about so many things. It's not, it's not about having 100 presents under the tree. It's about just doing the right thing, it's that simple. But I love the Christmas specials. I love hearing about Santa Claus. I love watching. We watch Rudolph. Santa Claus has come to town. We watch them all, man. I love the Little Drummer Boy. Little Drummer Boy is a personal favorite. Sheamus isn't crazy about Drummer Boy, but I've always had a kind of a thing. He's not crazy about the claymation thing. Actually, which is why he's not crazy about it. He likes the story, but not the claymation. I've always loved the Little Drummer Boy. I love the song, When Callista was little, I used to play keyboard way back when. I was never very good, but I played a little bit. But anyway, I kind of made up kind of my own little melody to it. I kept pretty true to the original, but kind of did more of a rock and roll thing to it. And Callista, when she was like 5, 6, and 7, her and I would do this little thing, every Christmas to, pa rum pa pa pa, and I play and she'd sing. It was great. Of course, it probably didn't sound that good, but we loved it. So anyway, Lil Helper's gone. Hey, I love Christmas. You should too. Regardless, I digress. Hey, I gotta go. Sheamus is making antler faces at me. Ta-da! Sheamus! Rudolph! We were doing, was that charades? He was Rudolph! I get it! Ta-da!